I kept telling you to stay away from there, Luster said. They sat up in the swing, quick. Quentin had her hands on her hair. He had a red tie.
You old crazy loon,
Quentin said.
I'm going to tell Dilsey about the way you let him follow everywhere I go. I'm going to make her whip you good.
Couldn't stop him, Luster said. Come here, Benji.
Yes, you could,
Quentin said.
You didn't try. You were both snooping around after me. Did grandmother send you all out here to spy on me?
She jumped out of the swing.
If you don't take him right away this minute and keep him away, I'm going to make Jason whip you.
Can't do nothing with him, Luster said. You try it if you think you can.
Shut your mouth,
Quentin said.
Are you going to get him away?
I'll let him stay, he said. He had a red tie. The sun was red on it. Look here, Jack. He struck a match and put it in his mouth. Then he took the match out of his mouth. It was still burning. Want to try it? He said. I went over there. Open your mouth, he said. I opened my mouth. Quentin hit the match with her hand, and it went away.
God damn you,
Quentin said.
Do you want him to get started? Don't you know he'll beller all day? I'm going to tell Dilsey on you.
She went away running. Here, kid, he said. Hey, come on back. I ain't going to fool with him. Quentin ran on to the house. She went around the kitchen. You played hell then, Jack, he said, ain't you? He can't tell what you're saying, Luster said. He deaf and dumb. Is, he said. How long he been that way? Been that way 33 years today, Luster said. Born loony. Is you one of them show folks? Why, he said. I don't recollect seeing you around here before, Luster said. Well, what about it? He said. Nothing, Luster said. I goin' tonight. He looked at me. You ain't the one can play a tune on that saw, is you? Luster said. It'll cost you $1 to find that out, he said. He looked at me. Why don't they lock him up? He said. What'd you bring him out here for? You ain't talking to me, Luster said. I can't do nothing with him. I just come over here looking for $1 I lost, so I can go to the show tonight. Look like now I ain't going to get to go. Luster looked at the ground. You ain't got no $1, is you? Luster said. Nope, he said. I ain't. I reckon I just have to find that other one then, Luster said. He put his hand in his pocket. You don't want to buy no golf ball neither, does you? Luster said. What kind of ball? He said. Golf ball, Luster said. I don't want but $1. What for? He said. What do I want with it? I didn't think you did, Luster said. Come on here, mulehead, he said. Come on here and watch them knocking that ball. Here's something you can play with along with that Jimson weed. Luster picked it up and gave it to me. It was bright. Where'd you get that? He said. His tie was red in the sun, walking. Found it under this here bush, Luster said. I thought for a minute it was that $1 I lost. He came and took it. Hush, Luster said. He going to give it back when he done looking at it. Agnes Maybelle Becky, he said. He looked toward the house. Hush, Luster said. He's fixing to give it back. He gave it to me, and I hushed. Who come to see her last night? He said. I don't know, Luster said. They comes every night. She can climb down that tree. I don't keep no track of them. Damn if one of them didn't leave a track, he said. He looked at the house. Then he went and lay down on the swing. Go away, he said. Don't bother me. Come on here, Luster said. You done played hell now. Time Miss Quentin get done telling on you. We went to the fence and looked through the curling flower spaces. Lester hunted in the grass. "I had it right here," he said. "I saw the flag flapping and the sun slanting on the broad grass." "They'll come along soon," Lester said. "There's some now, but they're going away. Come on and help me look for it." We went along the fence. "Hush," Lester said. "How can I make them come over here if they ain't coming? Wait. There'll be some in a minute. Look yonder. There they come." I went along the fence to the gate where the girls passed with their book satchels. "You, Benji," Lester said. "Come back here." "You can't do no good looking through that gate," T.P. said. "Miss Katty done gone long ways away. Done got married and left you. You can't do no good holding to that gate and crying. She can't hear you."
What is it he wants, T.P.?
Mother said.
Can't you play with him and keep him quiet?
"He want to go down yonder and look through the gate," T.P. said.
Well, he cannot do it.
Mother said.
It's raining. You will just have to play with him and keep him quiet. You, Benjamin.
"Ain't nothing gonna keep him quiet," T.P. said. "He think if he down to the gate, Miss Katty come back."
Nonsense.
Mother said. I could hear them talking. I went out the door, and I couldn't hear them, and I went down to the gate where the girls passed with their book satchels. They looked at me, walking fast, with their heads turned. I tried to say, but they went on, and I went along the fence trying to say, and they went faster. Then they were running, and I came to the corner of the fence, and I couldn't go any farther. I held to the fence, looking after them and trying to say. "You, Benji," T.P. said, "what you doing slipping out? Don't you know Dilsey whoop you?" "You can't do no good moaning and slobbering through the fence," T.P. said. "You done scared them children. Look at them, walking on the other side of the street." "How did he get out?" Father said. "Did you leave the gate unlatched when you came in, Jason?" "Of course not," Jason said. "Don't you know I've got better sense than to do that? Do you think I wanted anything like this to happen? This family is bad enough, God knows. I could have told you all the time. I reckon you'll send him to Jackson now, if Mr. Burgess doesn't shoot him first." "Hush," Father said. "I could have told you all the time," Jason said. It was open when I touched it, and I held to it in the twilight. I wasn't crying, and I tried to stop. Watching the girls coming along in the twilight, I wasn't crying.
There he is.
They stopped.
He can't get out. He won't hurt anybody anyway. Come on. I'm scared. I'm going to cross the street. He can't get out.
I wasn't crying.
Don't be afraid, Cat. Come on.
They came on in the twilight. I wasn't crying, and I held the gate. They came slow.
I'm scared. He won't hurt you. I pass here every day. He just runs along the fence.
They came on. I opened the gate, and they stopped, turning. I was trying to say, and I caught her trying to say, and she screamed, and I was trying to say, and trying hard. The bright shapes began to stop, and I tried to get out. I tried to get it off my face, but the bright shapes were going again. They were going up the hill to where it fell away, and I tried to cry. But when I breathed in, I couldn't breathe out again to cry. And I tried to keep from falling off the hill, and I fell off the hill into the bright, whirling shape. "Here, Looney," Lester said. "Here's some come. Hush your slobbering and moaning now." They came to the flag. He took it out, and they hit. Then he put the flag back. "Mister," Lester said. He looked around. "What?" he said. "Want to buy a golf ball?" Lester said. "Let's see it," he said. He came to the fence, and Lester reached the ball through. "Where'd you get it?" he said. "Found it," Lester said. "I know that," he said. "Where, in somebody's golf bag?" "I found it laying over here in the yard," Lester said. "I'll take a quarter for it." "What makes you think it's yours?" he said. "I found it," Lester said. "Then find yourself another one," he said. He put it in his pocket and went away. "I got to go to that show tonight," Lester said. "That's so," he said. He went to the table. "4, Katty," he said. He hit. "I'll declare," Lester said. "You fusses then you don't see them, and you fusses when you does. Why can't you hush? Don't you reckon folks get tired of listening to you all the time? Here, you dropped your Jimson weed." He picked it up and gave it back to me. "You needs a new one. You 'bout wore that one out." We stood at the fence and watched them. "That white man hard to get along with," Lester said. "You see him take my ball?" They went on. We went on along the fence. We came to the garden, and we couldn't go any farther. I held the fence and looked through the flower spaces. They went away. "Now you ain't got nothing to moan about," Lester said. "Hush up. I'm the one got something to moan over. You ain't. Here, why don't you hold on to that weed? You be bellerin' about it next." He gave me the flower. "Where you headin' now?" Our shadows were on the grass. They got to the trees before we did. Mine got there first. Then we got there, and then the shadows were gone. There was a flower in the bottle. I put the other flower in it. "Ain't you a grown man now?" Lester said. "Playing with 2 weeds in a bottle. You know what they goin' to do to you when Miss Caroline die? They goin' to send you to Jackson, where you belong. Mr. Jason say so, where you can hold the bars all day long with the rest of the loonies and slobber. How you like that?" Lester knocked the flowers over with his hand. "That's what they'll do to you at Jackson when you starts bellerin'." I tried to pick up the flowers. Lester picked them up, and they went away. I began to cry. "Bella," Lester said, "Bella, you want something to bell about? All right, then. Katty," he whispered. "Katty. Bella now. Katty."
Lester!
Dilsey said from the kitchen. The flowers came back. "Hush," Lester said. "Here they is. Look, it's fixed back just like it was at first. Hush now."
You, Lester!
Dilsey said. "Yes'm," Lester said. "We comin'. You done played hell. Get up." He jerked my arm, and I got up. We went out of the trees. Our shadows were gone. "Hush," Lester said. "Look at all them folks watching you. Hush."
You bring him on here.
Dilsey said. She came down the steps.
What you done to him now?
She said. "Ain't done nothing to him," Lester said. "He just start bellerin'."
Yes, you is.
Dilsey said.
You done something to him. Where you been?
"Over yonder, under them cedars," Lester said.
Getting Quentin all riled up.
Dilsey said.
Why can't you keep him away from her? Don't you know she don't like him where she at?
"Got as much time for him as I is," Lester said. "He ain't none of my uncle."
Don't you sass me, nigger boy.
Dilsey said. "I done nothing to him," Lester said. "He was playin' there, and all of a sudden he started bellerin'."
Is you been projectin' with his graveyard?
Dilsey said. "I touched his graveyard," Lester said.
Don't lie to me, boy.
Dilsey said. We went up the steps and into the kitchen. Dilsey opened the fire door and drew a chair up in front of it, and I sat down. I hushed.
What you want to get her started for?
Dilsey said.
Why didn't you keep him out of there? He was just looking at the fire.
Kathy said.
Mother was telling him his new name. We didn't mean to get her started. I knows you didn't,
Dilsey said.
Him at one end of the house and her at the other. You let my things alone now. Don't you touch nothing till I get back. Ain't you ashamed of yourself?
Dilsey said.
Teasing him.
She set the cake on the table. I'd been teasing him, Lester said. He was playing with that bottle full of dog fennel, and all of a sudden he started up bellowing. You heard him.
You ain't done nothing to his flowers,
Dilsey said. I touched his graveyard, Lester said. What I want with his truck. I was just hunting for the quarter.
You lost it, did you?
Dilsey said. She lit the candles on the cake. Some of them were little candles. Some were big ones cut into little pieces.
I told you go put it away. Now I reckon you want me to get you another one from Froney.
I got to go to that show. Benji or no Benji, Lester said. I ain't going to follow him around all day and night both.
You going to do just what he want you to do, nigger boy,
Dilsey said.
You hear me?
Ain't I always done it? Lester said. Don't I always does what he wants? Don't I, Benji?
Then you keep it up,
Dilsey said.
Bringing him in here, bawling and getting her started, too. You all go ahead and eat this cake now before Jason come. I don't want him jumping on me about a cake I bought with my own money. Me baking a cake here, with him counting every egg that comes into this kitchen. See, can you let him alone now, lest you don't want to go to that show tonight?
Dilsey went away. You can't blow out no candles, Lester said. Watch me blow them out. He leaned down and puffed his face. The candles went away. I began to cry. Hush, Lester said. Here, look at the fire while I cuts this cake. I could hear the clock, and I could hear Kathy standing behind me, and I could hear the roof. It's still raining, Kathy said.
I hate rain. I hate everything.
And then her head came into my lap, and she was crying, holding me, and I began to cry. Then I looked at the fire again, and the bright, smooth shapes went again. I could hear the clock and the roof and Kathy. I ate some cake. Lester's hand came and took another piece. I could hear him eating. I looked at the fire. A long piece of wire came across my shoulder. It went to the door, and then the fire went away. I began to cry. What you howling for now? Lester said. Look there. The fire was there. I hushed. Can't you sit and look at the fire and be quiet like Mammy told you? Lester said. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Here's you some more cake.
What you done to him now?
Dilsey said.
Can't you never let him alone?
I was just trying to get him to hush up and not disturb Miss Caroline, Lester said. Something got him started again.
And I know what that something named,
Dilsey said.
I'm going to get Versh to take a stick to you when he comes home. You just trying yourself. You've been doing it all day. Did you take him down to the branch?
Well, Lester said, we've been right here in this yard all day, like you said. His hand came for another piece of cake. Dilsey hit his hand.
Reach it again, and I'll chop it right off with this here butcher knife,
Dilsey said.
I bet he ain't had one piece of it.
Yes, he is, Lester said. He already had twice as much as me. Ask him if he ain't.
Reach it one more time,
Dilsey said.
Just reach it. That's right.
Dilsey said.
I reckon it'll be my time to cry next. Reckon Maury gonna let me cry on him a while, too. His name's Benji now.
Kathy said.
How come it is?
Dilsey said.
He ain't wore out the name he was born with yet, is he? Benjamin came out of the Bible.
Kathy said.
It's a better name for him than Maury was. How come it is?
Dilsey said.
Mother says it is.
Kathy said.
Huh.
Dilsey said.
Name ain't gonna help him. Hurt him neither. Folks don't have no luck changing names. My name been Dilsey since 'fore I could remember, and it be Dilsey when they's long forgot me. How will they know it's Dilsey when it's long forgot, Dilsey?
Kathy said.
It'll be in the book, honey.
Dilsey said.
Writ out. Can you read it?
Kathy said.
Won't have to.
Dilsey said.
They'll read it for me. All I got to do is say, I's here.
The long wire came across my shoulder, and the fire went away. I began to cry. Dilsey and Luster fought.
I seen you.
Dilsey said.
Oh, I seen you.
She dragged Luster out of the corner, shaking him.
Wasn't nothing bothering him, was they? You just wait till your pappy come home. I wish I was young like I used to be. I'd tear them years right off your head. I good mind to lock you up in that cellar and not let you go to that show tonight. I sure is.
Oh, Mammy, Luster said. Oh, Mammy. I put my hand out where the fire had been.
Catch him,
Dilsey said.
Catch him back.
My hand jerked back, and I put it in my mouth, and Dilsey caught me. I could still hear the clock between my voice. Dilsey reached back and hit Luster on the head. My voice was going loud every time.
Get that soda,
Dilsey said. She took my hand out of my mouth. My voice went louder then, and my hand tried to go back to my mouth. But Dilsey held it. My voice went loud. She sprinkled soda on my hand.
Look in the pantry and tear a piece off that rag hanging on the nail,
she said.
Hush now. You don't want to make your ma sick again, does you? Here, look at the fire. Dilsey make your hand stop hurting in just a minute. Look at the fire.
She opened the fire door. I looked at the fire, but my hand didn't stop, and I didn't stop. My hand was trying to go to my mouth, but Dilsey held it. She wrapped the cloth around it. Mother said,
What is it now? Can't I even be sick in peace? Do I have to get up out of bed and come down to him with 2 grown Negroes to take care of him? He all right now,
Dilsey said.
He going to quit. He just burnt his hand a little. With 2 grown Negroes, you must bring him into the house bawling?
Mother said.
You got him started on purpose because you know I'm sick.
She came and stood by me.
Hush,
she said.
Right this minute. Did you give him this cake? I bought it.
Dilsey said.
It never came out of Jason's pantry. I fixed him some birthday. Do you want to poison him with that cheap store cake?
Mother said.
Is that what you are trying to do? Am I never to have 1 minute's peace? You go on back upstairs and lay down.
Dilsey said.
It'll quit smarting him in a minute now, and he'll hush. Come on now, and leave him down here for you all to do something else to.
Mother said.
How can I lie there with him bawling down here? They ain't nowhere else to take him.
Dilsey said.
We ain't got the room we used to have. He can't stay out in the yard crying where all the neighbors can see him. I know.
Mother said.
It's all my fault. I'll be gone soon, and you and Jason will both get along better.
She began to cry.
You hush that now,
Dilsey said.
You'll get yourself down again. You come on back upstairs. Luster gonna take him to the library and play with him till I get his supper done.
Dilsey and Mother went out. "Hush up," Luster said. "You hush up. You want me to burn your other hand for you? You ain't hurt. Hush up."
Here,
Dilsey said.
stop that crying now.
She gave me the slipper, and I hushed.
Take him to the library,
she said.
And if I hear him again, I going to whip you myself.
We went to the library. Luster turned on the light. The windows went black, and the dark, tall place on the wall came, and I went and touched it. It was like a door, only it wasn't a door. The fire came behind me, and I went to the fire and sat on the floor, holding the slipper. The fire went higher. It went into the cushion in Mother's chair. "Hush up," Luster said. "Can't you never get done for a while? Here I done built you a fire, and you won't even look at it."
Your name is Benji,
Kathy said.
Do you hear, Benji? Benji. Don't tell him that.
Mother said.
Bring him here.
Kathy lifted me under the arms.
Get up, Benji,
she said.
Don't try to carry him.
Mother said.
Can't you lead him over here? Is that too much for you to think of? I can carry him.
Kathy said.
Let me carry him up, Dilsey. Go on, Minute,
Dilsey said.
You ain't big enough to tote a fleet. You go on and be quiet, like Mr. Jason said.
There was a light at the top of the stairs. Father was there in his shirt sleeves. The way he looked said, "Hush." Kathy whispered,
Is Mother sick?
Burr sent me down, and we went into Mother's room. There was a fire. It was rising and falling on the walls. There was another fire in the mirror. I could smell the sickness. It was on a cloth folded on Mother's head. Her hair was on the pillow. The fire didn't reach it, but it shone on her hand where her rings were jumping.
Come and tell Mother good night,
Kathy said. We went to the bed. The fire went out of the mirror. Father got up from the bed and lifted me up, and Mother put her hand on my head.
What time is it?
Mother said. Her eyes were closed. 10 minutes to 7, Father said.
It's too early for him to go to bed,
Mother said.
He'll wake up at daybreak, and I simply cannot bear another day like today.
There, Father said. He touched Mother's face.
I know I'm nothing but a burden to you,
Mother said.
But I'll be gone soon. Then you'll be rid of my bothering.
I'll take him downstairs for a while. He took me up. Come on, old fellow. Let's go downstairs a while. We'll have to be quiet while Quentin is studying now. Katty went and leaned her face over the bed, and Mother's hand came into the firelight. Her rings jumped on Katty's back. Mother's sick, Father said. Dilsey will put you to bed. Where's Quentin?
Verse getting him,
Dilsey said. Father stood and watched us go past. We could hear Mother in her room. Katty said,
Hush!
Jason was still climbing the stairs. He had his hands in his pockets. You must be good tonight, Father said, and be quiet, so you won't disturb Mother.
We'll be quiet,
Katty said.
You must be quiet now, Jason,
she said. We tiptoed. We could hear the roof. I could see the fire in the mirror, too. Katty lifted me again.
Come on now,
she said.
Then you can come back to the fire. Hush now. Candace,
Mother said.
Hush, Benji.
Kathy said.
Mother wants you a minute, like a good boy. Then you can come back, Benji.
Kathy let me down, and I hushed.
Let him stay here, Mother. When he's through looking at the fire, then you can tell him. Candace,
Mother said. Kathy stooped and lifted me. We staggered.
Candace.
Mother said.
Hush.
Kathy said.
You can still see it. Hush. Bring him here.
Mother said.
He's too big for you to carry. You must stop trying. You'll injure your back. All of our women have prided themselves on their carriage. Do you want to look like a washerwoman? He's not too heavy.
Kathy said.
I can carry him. Well, I don't want him carried then.
Mother said.
A 5-year-old child? No, not in my lap. Let him stand up. If you'll hold him, he'll stop.
Kathy said.
Hush,
She said.
You can go right back. Here's your cushion. See? Don't, Candace.
Mother said.
Let him look at it and he'll be quiet.
Kathy said.
Hold up just a minute while I slip it out. There, Benji, look.
I looked at it and hushed.
You humor him too much.
Mother said.
You and your father both. You don't realize that I am the one who has to pay for it. DeMuddy spoiled Jason that way, and it took him 2 years to outgrow it. And I am not strong enough to go through the same thing with Benjamin. You don't need to bother with him.
Kathy said.
I like to take care of him, don't I, Benji? Candace.
Mother said.
I told you not to call him that. It was bad enough when your father insisted on calling you by that silly nickname, and I will not have him called by one. Nicknames are vulgar. Only common people use them. Benjamin.
She said.
Look at me.
Mother said.
Benjamin.
She said. She took my face in her hands and turned it to hers.
Benjamin.
She said.
Take that cushion away, Candace. He'll cry.
Candace said.
Take that cushion away like I told you.
Mother said.
He must learn to mind.
The cushion went away.
Hush, Benji.
Kathy said.
You go over there and sit down.
Mother said.
Benjamin.
She held my face to hers.
Stop that.
She said.
Stop it.
But I didn't stop, and Mother caught me in her arms and began to cry, and I cried. Then the cushion came back, and Kathy held it above Mother's head. She drew Mother back in the chair. Mother lay crying against the red and yellow cushion.
Hush, Mother.
Kathy said.
You go upstairs and lay down so you can be sick. I'll go get Dilsey.
She led me to the fire, and I looked at the bright, smooth shapes. I could hear the fire in the roof. Father took me up. He smelled like rain. Well, Benji, he said, have you been a good boy today? Kathy and Jason were fighting in the mirror. You, Kathy, Father said. They fought. Jason began to cry. Kathy, Father said. Jason was crying. He wasn't fighting any more, but we could see Kathy fighting in the mirror, and Father put me down and went into the mirror and fought too. He lifted Kathy up. She fought. Jason lay on the floor crying. He had the scissors in his hand. Father held Kathy.
He cut up all Benji's dolls.
Kathy said.
I slit his gizzle.
Candace, Father said.
I will.
Kathy said.
I will.
She fought. Father held her. She kicked at Jason. He rolled into the corner out of the mirror. Father brought Kathy to the fire. They were all out of the mirror. Only the fire was in it, like the fire was in a door. Stop that, Father said. Do you want to make Mother sick in her room? Caddy stopped.
He cut up all the dolls more Benji and I made.
Caddy said.
He did it just for meanness.
I didn't, Jason said. He was sitting up crying. I didn't know they were his. I just thought they were some old papers.
You couldn't help but know,
Caddy said.
You did it just.
Hush, Father said. Jason, he said.
I'll make you some more tomorrow,
Caddy said.
We'll make a lot of them. Here, you can look at the cushion, too.
Jason came in. I kept telling you to hush, Lester said. What's the matter now? Jason said. He just trying himself, Lester said. That's the way he been going on all day. Why don't you let him alone then? Jason said. If you can't keep him quiet, you'll have to take him out of the kitchen. The rest of us can't shut ourselves up in a room like Mother does. Mammy say keep him out of the kitchen till she gets supper, Lester said. Then play with him and keep him quiet, Jason said. Do I have to work all day and then come home to a madhouse? He opened the paper and read it.
You can look at the fire and the mirror and the cushion, too,
Caddy said.
You won't have to wait until supper to look at the cushion now.
We could hear the roof. We could hear Jason, too, crying loud beyond the wall. Delsey said,
You come, Jason. You letting him alone, is you?
Yes'm, Lester said.
Where Quentin?
Delsey said.
Supper near about ready.
I don't know, Lester said. I ain't seen her. Delsey went away.
Quentin,
she said in the hall.
Quentin, supper ready.
We could hear the roof. Quentin smelled like rain, too. What did Jason do? He said.
He cut up all Benji's dolls.
Caddy said. Mother said not to call him Benji, Quentin said. He sat on the rug by us. I wish it wouldn't rain, he said. You can't do anything.
You've been in a fight,
Caddy said.
Haven't you?
It wasn't much, Quentin said.
You can tell it,
Caddy said.
Father'll see it.
I don't care, Quentin said. I wish it wouldn't rain. Quentin said,
Didn't Dilsey say supper was ready?
Yes'm, Lester said. Jason looked at Quentin. Then he read the paper again. Quentin came in. She say it about ready, Lester said. Quentin jumped down in Mother's chair. Lester said, Mr. Jason? What? Jason said. Let me have 2 bits, Lester said. What for? Jason said. To go to the show tonight, Lester said. I thought Dilsey was going to get a quarter from Froney for you, Jason said. She did, Lester said. I lost it. Me and Benji hunted all day for that quarter. You can ask him. Then borrow 1 from him, Jason said. I have to work for mine. He read the paper. Quentin looked at the fire. The fire was in her eyes and on her mouth. Her mouth was red. I tried to keep him away from there, Lester said.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth,
Quentin said. Jason looked at her. What did I tell you I was going to do if I saw you with that show fellow again? He said. Quentin looked at the fire. Did you hear me? Jason said.
I heard you,
Quentin said.
Why don't you go do it then?
Don't you worry, Jason said.
I'm not,
Quentin said. Jason read the paper again. I could hear the roof. Father leaned forward and looked at Quentin. Hello, he said. Who won? Nobody, Quentin said. They stopped us, teachers. Who was it? Father said. Will you tell? It was all right, Quentin said. He was as big as me. That's good, Father said. Can you tell what it was about? It wasn't anything, Quentin said. He said he would put a frog in her desk, and she wouldn't dare whip him. Oh, Father said. And then what? Yes, sir, Quentin said. And then I kind of hit him. We could hear the roof and the fire and the snuffling outside the door. Where was he going to get a frog in November? Father said. I don't know, sir, Quentin said. We could hear them. Jason, Father said. We could hear Jason. Jason, Father said, come in here and stop that. We could hear the roof and the fire and Jason. Stop that now, Father said. Do you want me to whoop you again? Father lifted Jason up into the chair by him. Jason snuffled. We could hear the fire and the roof. Jason snuffled a little louder. One more time, Father said. We could hear the fire and the roof.